How's it going?
Very, very well.
How are you doing, sir?
Hey.
Have you had the...
Question.
Oh.
Just very quickly. Is it the year 201X?
We say 21X.
That's Mega Man, right?
Huh? I mean, yeah, obviously. But I mean, it's like, the idea was because, Mega Man is 20XX.
Yes.
And I was like, how about let's make it a little more specific, 21X.
I love the shout. I love the reference.
So in the panel, you mentioned that the show does have a story arc, but it's more of like a parody of story arcs. Can you go into a little more detail about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a super huge fan of genre and just action shows and movies and stuff like that. And, I just love all the cheesy plot lines from G.I. Joe and Thundercats and that kind of really goofy good versus evil type of stuff. So we have a lot of fun with that. A lot of dorky villains over explaining what's gonna happen, and then also characters that are oh no, they betrayed us. Oh, we've got to revenge ourselves. Oh, let's get them. I just love to have fun with all that stuff. So it's the overarching plot, it's there, but it's just there to be funny. It's set up for more jokes and humor. Yeah.
What was it like going from a show that, takes itself more or less seriously in Steven to going to this show, which is not only your vision, but now is, from what you say, sounds like the total opposite of that?
Well, actually, it's really funny. People think that Steven takes itself super seriously, but it doesn't. So much about Steven Universe is just based on what's cool and what's funny. And when I was in the writer's room, everything we talked about was what's the coolest / funniest way to introduce something? And it's what if we sort of did foreshadowing of the whole series in a rap about a cookie? What if when they combined into humunculous giant woman, it was a magician who could spin her torso around? You know what I mean? Yes, it's very seriously done and it's very heartfelt, but so much of it is based around comedy and just making people laugh and making people have some fun. Yeah.
So for the Steven Universe fans that will be checking out OKKO, what in Steven Universe that they love will they find in OKKO?
I mean, the basic thing is I like to create I was so involved in the creation of Steven Universe that the show OKKO shares a lot of DNA. I can't help it, it's basically in its lifeblood. They've both got lovable main characters who are just trying their hardest to do the right thing, and so if that's something that you enjoy, you're definitely gonna get a lot of that. There's also just a lot of there's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of things that I put in Steven Universe that now I'm revisiting here. For instance, I mentioned in Steven Universe, Steven has a favorite toy called Guys Under Your Supervision, and it's about a bunch of guys that are a bunch of weird different guys that all fight together and stuff. Well, I created that, and that's OKKO. So if you ever wanted to know what Steven's favorite show is it's basically this show. It's a bunch of different guys who are a bunch of cool weird guys. A ninja guy, a fighter guy, an alien guy, That is essentially the show that I made. So, if you like that same kind of, that weirdness and this kind of thing that does anything just to get a little laugh or a little bit of thought and introspection from the viewer, that's what I think you'll get out of the show. A lot of people go to Steven Universe and I think they forget. They really like the dramatic elements and stuff, but it has a core of just being a silly cartoon. And if that's something that you like, I think you'll like OKKO as well. Sure.
See, now I want a scene where Steven and Amethyst are sitting on the couch eating potato chips watching OKKO based off of that. So.
Absolutely.
So much like Steven Universe that has a lot of Japanese cultural references, it seems like OKKO also has that as well. And some of the minisodes were animated by Japanese and Korean animation studios like Moe Animation. I think Science Saru, which is Masaki Yuasa's.
Yuasa,
Yeah. So whose decision was it to kind of collaborate with them?
So, Cartoon Network tasked us with making a bunch of 2-minute shorts for the show, and instead of like, I wanted to do something different. And, you know, I feel like getting to do a bunch of little like pieces of content instead of like just doing something boring and like figuring out a style and then like tying it down. I wanted it to be something that would surprise the viewer every time you saw it. So instead, we came up with the idea of, let's come up with these stories and then hand them off to a bunch of different animation studios that we love just to get them involved in the project. And I was fortunate enough to meet Masaki Yuasa when he worked on the Adventure Time. He worked on the Adventure Time episode Food Chain. I'm a huge fan of his. Mind Game was one of my like hugest inspirations. It came out when I was in college, and it was something that really made me want to pursue animation. And I was fortunate enough to meet him. And then years later, when we were doing these shorts, they had a gap of work time at their studio, and I was like, maybe you could work on this thing? And they came out great, and it's just such an inspiration to me.
And then to sort of follow up on that, I want to talk about just the animation and OKKO in general, because you guys are doing things that I have not seen, especially like your characters are all over the place, they're stretching everywhere. What made you want to play so fast and loose with the animation?
I mean, it's honestly an evolution of the kind of stuff we were doing on Steven Universe, which itself was an evolution of the kind of stuff we were doing on Adventure Time. One of the things that Pendleton Ward, the creator of Adventure Time, always instilled in me was that, you know, people think of a joke as like, oh, it's just like a setup and a punchline, and it's like, well, that's not all a joke is. A joke could be the funny way a character sits down in a chair. A joke could be the funny look that someone has on their face, you know? And you see that a lot in Steven Universe. It's like, what's more important than the characters being on model is like seeing that look on Steven's face when he turns around after he just thinks he told a really good joke. You know what I mean? It's more important to show the audience how a character is feeling through the way they look. And it's so much more important in animation, because like, you wouldn't want to watch an animated show where the characters looked 100% realistic. I mean, you could want to watch that, but I don't know why you would want that. It's a cartoon. You can do anything, you know? So OKKO is basically, we're kind of just doing that, like, you know. And also the thing I really love about it is that I work with a really amazing crew of great artists. And what's great with having like freedom in the style is that their drawings go directly from their storyboards to the screen. And so you're not just watching like a homogenized version of a cartoon that's like a product, you know? You're getting to see like a real drawing on the screen. And that's something we kind of tried to follow through with the entire visual look of the show. We actually told our animation teams not to fully ink the drawings. They kind of are done with like sort of a sketchy pencil line. And I just want it to be like more approachable. Like if you're a kid watching the show, you can think in your head like, oh, it's a drawing, maybe I could draw this. You know, that's something that's really important to me, because I remember that feeling when I was a kid, and I want to make sure that the audience gets to have that too.
Follow up on the animation thing. One thing I thought when you were talking about it's more in the visual comedy than it is in the storytelling or in the dialogue. And you know, one thing that the world of social media has introduced is just GIFs of everything.
Yeah.
That every little moment in the show can be GIFed and shared online. Has that sort of changed your mentality on how you approach things? Has it changed anyone's mentality?
I mean, I don't know if I would specifically think about that sharing, but yeah, I mean, when you think about it, yeah, OKKO is definitely like a reaction face gold mine because there's like we really try to try to stretch like the cartoony expressions and stuff like as far as we can.
What's it like voice acting on the characters in this? Because I imagine that working on the storyboards and producing and writing takes a lot of a lot of your time. So writing with the characters, is there what's the different energy going from like the creative side to like the performative side?
I love doing voice acting. It's just it's been really fun, and it's actually helped a lot because Rad was a character that he wasn't super defined, and through working on it and getting to work on the character, he became like a lot more real as time would go by. And then the fact that I was doing the voice for him really helped. And also, I get to surround myself with some of the best voice actors in the business. KO's voiced by Courtney Taylor, who's just an amazing professional voice actress. Enid is voiced by Ashley Birch, who has been in a million things. The main villain, Lord Boxman, is voiced by Jim Cummings, one of my voice heroes. And the fact that I get to be in the booth from them, and I learn little tips from them on how to deliver a line. It's been just a huge education for me.
And as much as the show is about fighting, in one of the episodes you guys released, KO wants to solve everything by going through people's social medias and figuring stuff out. Is he, as much as the show is about fighting, are we going to see more sort of techniques like that from KO?
Yeah, fighting is never it's never the solution to the actual problem in the episode. Fighting is just currency in this world because it's kind of like a action-based world. Usually there's not a problem, though, that can just be solved by fighting or action. It's more of a place where fighting might get us there, but we really have to put our heads together and also be an empathetic person to find the solution.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, was it interesting going back to the voice acting thing? You look at some of the shorts on YouTube, and it's all it's the voice of Wallow. Have you found yourself able to easily separate yourself from your past projects, Bravest Warriors, your work on Adventure Time and Steven Universe? How have you faced that challenge?
For me, I don't know. When I was a kid, the shows that I liked, I liked Dexter's Lab a lot, and then Gendy Tartakovsky ended up being an animation director on Powerpuff Girls after that, and I saw the connection between those two things, and it didn't bother me at all. So I kind of feel this is the same thing. If people look at my show and they're oh, something about this reminds me of Steven Universe, that's a bonus to me. Yeah.
In the context of other, superhero shows that are going on, superhero shows and movies from DC, Marvel, OKKO makes a lot of references to Street Fighter, and so what's KO's motivation for being a hero? Because that seems to be something that's being explored right now with not just Western animation and Western film, but for anime and My Hero Academia.
I think KO, he really just wants to be a person who helps people. He's just he's a very empathetic, caring little kid, and he really just wants to help people and find his place in the world, just like we all do, just like everybody who watches the show is. And if you lived in a world full of superheroes, wouldn't you want to be one too?
Hey guys, Zach House.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Y'all, thanks for coming with great questions.
No worries.
I finally knew something really useful.
Did you have anything else for coming?
No,
Or just this?
I got The Magicians tomorrow and Star Trek.